Hey there, my name is Przemek and this is the review of this compilation. 63 Days, released by Fluttering Dragon Records. At first I was planning a joint video about the 3 newest releases by Fluttering Dragon. The albums by Nordvargr, Hexmir, and this 63 Days compilation. But I realized that discussing this compilation may take some time, so there will be only one separate video about it, the one you are watching right now. Let me begin like this. If I'd made a baby when Fluttering Dragon released its last album, that kid would be grown up today. 18 years ago, the Warsaw-based label released its last vinyl and went out of business. And just as no one has expected Spanish Inquisition, no one probably assumed that Fluttering Dragon would ever return. And here we are. In 2024, the Dragon has spread its wings again and released a couple of new albums, and as far as I know, plans for the future are also bright. I was very happy to hear this news, as I was a Dragon fan at the beginning of this century. In a series of retro reviews, I discussed two of my favorite albums from the label. Ildfrost, You'll Never Sparkle in Hell, and Nordvargr Drakh, Cold Void of Nothing. I also briefly discussed the history of the label there, so for more information I refer you to those videos, links in the description, if I won't forget to put them there. Fluttering Dragon Last Dance, back then, was a series of 7-inch vinyls, 63 days, dedicated to the Warsaw Uprising, which took place in 1944. And it was the largest urban operation undertaken by the resistance movement against the German invaders during World War II. My channel is not a place where I will discuss the history and course and aftermath of the uprising. In Poland, in fact, it is an important important part of our history of the 20th century, while the rest of the world, if you don't know anything about it, just look for the information in the internet. And if you're ever in Warsaw, visit the Warsaw Uprising Museum, because right there, in a very interesting interactive way, this tragic event is told from many perspectives and in many different contexts. To this day, the Warsaw Uprising stirs up a lot of discussion, with some people denying its meaning and its legitimacy. I have my own opinion, but I won't bring it up here because this channel is not the right place for that. And as I say, I refer you to check the historical sources. I guess the 63 Days series was created a bit on the wave of popularity of martial, industrial, ambient, pop, whatever, in the first half of the 2000s. And as some of you may remember, there was a great number of projects creating this style back then. I was also a fan, and I was devoured by this martial storm. And later I re-evaluated a bit. I realized that the vast majority of these projects did not represent much good, and the quasi-orchestra from the laptop irritates more than delights. Most of these projects are no longer exist today. In fact, the genre itself is on the verge of extinction, I guess. Sure, someone out there is still creating, but the biggest projects, the biggest names, either don't exist or have completely changed style, like der Blutarch or der Nievolant. Basically, today I return only to the best representatives of the genre, like the aforementioned der Blutarch or der Nievolant, plus Le Joyau de la Princesse, Turgon Sturmwerk, Toroid, Tribe of Circle, and maybe a few others. And this 63 days is such a return to those days, because I knew these pieces before. I acquired them from so-called alternative sources. I mean, but I didn't listen to them much, because not having a turntable, I wouldn't have anything to play them on, and I didn't like to listen to music from a computer. But now, having the whole thing in hand in the form of reissue on CD, I felt again as if it was 2005. 3 versions. The regular one, Digipack, which I still have sealed, a Digibook with some historical photos. This is how it looks like. This. And an impressive wooden box, which looks like this. Those two last editions, the Digibook and this box, are limited to 63 copies. And Fluttering Dragon has always been famous on the scene for the beautiful editions of its albums, and after these 18 years, as you can see, that fact doesn't change. And yeah, look at those names. I'm 20 years younger, a time when I almost idolized these artists. We have 13 songs here. There were 6 vinyls in the series, but some of them were splits. Some musicians delivered 1 song, some 2 songs, and Krempulec even 3. But here we go. When discussing individual songs, I will not mention that this one was on the first vinyl, this one on the second, and this one on the last, etc. We treat this one as one single work. And we start with a Challenge of Honor. Then I always forget whether it's a project from Netherlands or from Belgium. From Netherlands, I think. And as much as I liked a Challenge of Honor first releases, such as Wilhelm Gustloff or Monuments, later the project with its cheap synth tunes, in my opinion, has begun to represent the worst in martial pop industrial music. And after Seven Samurai album, it was hard for me to listen to them anymore. Meanwhile, on 63 Days, their first song, simply titled 63 Days, is quite good. Dynamic reverbed drums and gloomy melody, quite evocatively painting the picture of the horror of war. And the second one is Dead but Not Defeated, and then you can really clear the time when it was created. You know, a solemn, mournful melody generated by synths, obviously, but it was intended to imitate neoclassical music plus drums. Not my style. It sounds quite archaic today, but there are probably fans of this style out there, just like there are fans of dungeon synth, which is completely incomprehensible to me, but oh well. In fact, a Challenge of Honor reactivated some time ago, and the next album will be released on Fluttering Dragon, as far as I know. And although, as I mentioned, I haven't been a fan of for a while, to put it mildly, I am somehow curious about the direction in which they will go in the third decade of the 21st century. Next in line is Stahlwerk 9, a German music project. Yes, as strange it may sound, we have also an artist from Germany on the album. To be honest, I have always been fond of Stahlwerk 9 and albums such as Oradur 1905 or 212 vinyl series, which was also later reissued on 8 CD release by Steinplank, I think. They are for me the masterpieces of martial dark industrial ambient. Here we have two pieces again, titled in Polish, Wierzby Płaczące, which means Weeping Willows, and Pałacyk Michla, which is Michla Palace. Both songs are built on a similar pattern or scheme. The first one begins with a sample of a Polish soldier's song, Weeping Willows, and the second one with a sample of a radio broadcast describing the events of one day of the uprising. And then these terrifying soundscapes where the horror of war seems almost tangible, and the whole thing resembles a walk in the smoking ashes of a fallen city. Stahlwerk 9 at its best. Today the project still exists, although it has abandoned war themes for good. Despite this fact, he still makes a very good music. Next, there is Kavatana with the song 63 Days. Kavatana is a Hungarian project, also quite popular among martial music fans at that time. I admit I quite liked their works, especially the split with Storm of Capricorn. They balanced between martial neoclassical and martial pop, but they always knew how to create cool, catchy melodies, and it's the same in this track. A solemn organ melody, drums, grave male vocals, lots of pathos, and of course the feeling of martial music from 20 years ago again. But it's quite pleasant to listen to. I haven't been interested in what they do for a long time, but from what I have checked in the internet, I see they still exist. Maybe I'll check how they sound like today. On the other hand, the Italian Der Feuerkreiner is probably dead and buried for a long time. This project also had its 5 minutes, creating a few relatively solid albums in the genre. And listening to their song, I remembered that they actually had a good female singer. And it's also quite a nice track with a hint of dark wave creeping in between the marching rhythms. And then we have the Polish project Cold Fusion with the songs 9th August Act 1 and 9th August Act 2. Cold Fusion is a long defunct project by Marcin Bachtiak, who also ran the label War Office Propaganda, later known as Rage in Eden. And Cold Fusion also represents the problem of martial neoclassical music from that time, 20 years ago. Keyboards imitating a piano, very synthetic sound. In the past people didn't think about it that much, me as well, but today we see the weaknesses of this genre, and it cannot be denied that in many moments it did not stand the test of time. Personally, I think that some of this music could still stand out after all these years if they tried to make the sound more dirty and give it a lo-fi character, maybe more stylized, like old music played from old vinyls, something like that. Le Joyeux de la Princesse does it in a perfect way, in my opinion. And this clean artificial sound does not correspond at all to the theme of this or that album. This is not just a problem for Cold Fusion, but for many Marshall projects from that time. As far as I know, Marcin is no longer involved in music, but I'm curious what he thinks about his works from that time and about Martial industrial in general, which he promoted so much in War of His Propaganda or Rage in Eden. Maybe someday I ask him for an interview or something. After Cold Fusion we have 3 songs from the Polish project Krempulec. This is the project by Infamis, who also runs the Beast of Prey label, and today you may associate him with the space ambient music created under Voices of the Cosmos banner. And he created his first Krempulec album together with Grzegorz Siedlecki, back then from the Totenmesse project, now known as Horologium. I said Totenmesse, Totenhaus, of course. Sorry, Totenmesse is a black metal band. Krempulec is the only one to offer 3 songs, although in fact the first one is a sample of the uprising song Marsz Śródmieścia, which can be translated as I think Downtown March, I don't know, something like that. Baron aka Zośka is again a gloomy drum-driven martial, quite monotonous, but here you can also hear that delicately crunching undercurrent with somehow industrial feel. And the third piece, Raport Stropa, which means Strop Report, I think it doesn't concern the topic of the Warsaw Uprising, because the title refers to the uprising in the Warsaw Ghetto, which took place in 1943. Why it was included on this series, I don't know, but here again we have looped keyboard melody, some spoken samples, and again a nice, slowly growing industrial soundscape in the background. Okay, so we have 2 tracks left. Weihan is from Belgium, and I have no idea if this project is still active on the scene. In their music they blend neo-folk and martial neoclassical, and this song is basically this martial slash neoclassical slash neofolk, because apart from the entourage typical for this kind of music, that is quasi-orchestral melodies and drums, this time also acoustic guitar appears, accompanied by male declamations. Not a bad track, which feeling is as triumphant as tragic. And the last one is West Wind, the French project with some, I think, personal connections with the Steelwork Machine label. And again, what we have here is keyboard melodies and drums, but this track is kind of more dynamic than the others on this compilation. I always liked it in the works of this French project that often their rhythmic patterns have more, I don't know, vibrancy than in many of their fellow martial industrial colleagues' works, like some fragments of Tourment 1 album. So I think that there's no coincidence that the guy behind West Wind has a side project, New Axis, and it's a kind of electro music of some sort, very dynamic. So, okay, this compilation is an interesting overview of what was happening on the martial scene at its peak. and it coolly depicts this fragment of this post-industrial niche with all its bright and dark sides. As a document of that era, it's definitely a thing worth getting. And for fans, because as I said, I know there is still many of them around, it's a must-have item, whether in first, second or third edition. Even more, if you didn't have a chance to get it on vinyl in the years when it was first released, this is very good opportunity to get it again. The plus is also that you have everything in one place on one single CD. And if you would like a copy of this album for free, I have a contest for you. I will give you this edition, regular edition, because I'm a bitch for collector's edition, so I give you this one. The idea is simple. Write in the comments what album from the martial industrial genre is your favorite, and in 3 sentences briefly justify your choice. I will choose one answer, in my opinion the most interesting, and for you I will throw one more album, this very one, Regardement d'Esprit, written in stone, which is my interpretation of the martial ambient, martial industrial genre. I released this album on Steinklang Industries in 2021. Okay, since just a few people watch my videos to the end, I encourage you even more, because I don't expect many answers, so for each one of you I think the chance to win is quite big. I give you 2 weeks until March 17, 2024, and I will announce the result in newsflash video March 18 or 19. Unless no one writes any answer, then I won't announce the result. Okay, thanks for watching and see you soon.